Hey, witches.
Hi, hello. Welcome back to another episode.
I'm going to apologize in advance if I accidentally cough in your ear. I will try to mute first. I have bronchitis. Um, but if we don't record today, you're not getting anything this week. So,
Yeah.
and I honestly, you can ask Brittany, or maybe you can't because Emily can ask Brittany. Um, this is way better, or honestly, you could even ask Emily because I sent her a snap on Saturday than I sounded the last 2 days. So,
Yeah, she's sounding pretty rough.
I sound a little better today. So, we're going to go for it.
Yeah. Um, so we are in part 7 of The Dawn and Its Light. And let me tell you, this was this was not a good part.
I don't remember where this episode ends, so I'm not going to say too much. I guess you already know. You've already read, but
Yeah, because I finished the rest of the book. Um, so shall we?
yeah, so we
I
start right
just want to
away
talk about it.
back with Gadriel, and he's like, resurrecting because that's his fucking power, even though we apparently all,
Forgot.
we all forgot that that was
He
a
could do
thing.
that.
Yeah. Or, yeah, I don't know. I was irritated. Um, but also, like, they're very descriptive of his resurrection this time, and because he doesn't have any kind of like tonics or anything to aid his healing, like he has to like crack his neck back into place because his fucking neck got broke, if you'll recall. See? Um yeah, so his fucking neck got broke, if you'll recall. And he had to like crack it back into place. And meanwhile, during all of this, can we just talk about how much of a badass Gad is? Because during all of this, while he is like resurrecting himself and cracking his bones back into place, he is timing the Reds and how often and how frequently they're coming into the room and like preparing his escape, basically. Like,
That's why he's a general.
right, like, and he's like, I have to find my sergeant. And so that's what he's going to look for Yaslin, because he knew that she didn't leave. Um
Well, and he's really smart too with runes, no less. And so he like ducks into this closet like thing and he finds that even a broom closet such as that is etched with runes.
and like silencing runes, right?
Yeah, so it's like, well, damn, now what?
Right. So
So
he
it's not
can't,
like he
it's not like
can,
he can listen at doors.
yeah, he can't use his fey hearing for all of that. Um, which I guess I can kind of understand it as like it being a church, you know.
But
I'm
also
also
like
I'm basing it off of yeah, I was gonna say I'm kind of basing it off of like my church experience. Like if I ever had to like go confess, I was like, I yeah, like I don't want to talk about this.
right. Well, and not only that, but like think about all of the horrific things that have been done to people in churches. So the fact that it has all of these silencing runes, and I'm not even talking about in this book, I mean like in real life, like the self-flagellation, the non-self-flagellation, the like whippings, the
Mm-hmm.
molestation, all of the things that have happened and have been proven to happen in churches. So for a church to have sound dampening ruins is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
But one thing, and I know that it's probably because of the author, um, but the females in this book are just as badass, if not more so, than the male characters. And like,
Mm-hmm.
when I specifically am like speaking about this, I'm talking about the red that Gadriel is fighting on page 419. I'm not even talking about Yaslin. He does end up beating her, but like she's a fucking badass. Anyhow.
Yeah. And it's great because it's like we don't hear that she heard, like we don't know how she got behind Gadriel, but he turned around and she's like right there. So she's quite small on her feet, which is terrifying nonetheless.
Yeah, and then the last thing I wrote about this chapter was on page 421, which is the last page of the chapter. And that's, she's like, the Comtes, or what remains of them, are being corralled into one place. They took Ryu. I mean, they took those who fought with us. I think the speaker needs to make her move to get everyone on her side. The way they were talking, they weren't trying to conceal anything. They'll be rallying up Surya, Chloris, Elswith. They're finding every Comte as we speak. Since Daifa can plant memories, we're about to lose every ally we have in this kingdom. And again, I ask, did we not see that coming?
Oh, girl, that's like, bad. That's
hello.
Bad. Like, honestly, I understand, like, taking Nox and Amaris out of there. I should have grabbed a Comte in the meantime.
Yeah. I just, wow.
Oh, well.
But that's the end of chapter 35. Chapter 36. On page 422, the very first page of the chapter, Amaris is like freaking out because she kept pouring healing tonic down Nox's throat trying to heal her. And she said she absolutely hoped it wasn't possible to overdose on healing tonic. It'd be an interesting paradox. Like, could you overdose on a healing tonic? And if you could, would it not just heal you from the overdose? So would you not be in, like, if you ever watched Futurama?
Yeah.
You know, the last episode before it got, like, when it got canceled the first time, the last episode where they're on, like, he keeps resetting time, but he's falling from the top of the Empire State Building. And he keeps resetting time over and over again. But, like, it's just the inevitability of it. Because he's still falling and nothing is changing in that 30-second time period.
He's just there.
Yeah, and so I feel like that's the same thing with trying to overdose on healing tonic. I mean, in this sense, in this magical world, not in the real world. Obviously, in the real world, most of our healing medications are poison, so you can definitely overdose on them. But in this world, like, where a healing tonic can mend bones together, like, I feel like...
Or, like, immediately take away your hangover.
Right. Like, I feel like you can't overdose on that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It would be funny, though. I mean, can you just imagine taking, like, 3 too many, like, healing tonics, and then you're like, it's not healing them fast enough.
And you're like, oh, shit.
Here we go.
Oh, man.
I am honestly really annoyed with how everyone is treating Fiola.
Same.
It's like, okay, yeah, it was in pain. It was acting like an animal in pain. And then you took the pain away, and now, like, she was fine. She acted like a big-ass dog. And then you put her back in pain. Excuse me. You put her back in pain. So now what? You just expect her to, like, not go back to that state of mind and that, like, terrifying whatever? Like, no,
yeah.
Fuck you. And it's just annoying because she's like, you want to know about that rabid dog? Like, bitch, fuck you.
That
Like,
rabid
she could
dog
see
just
that you're
fucking
right here.
saved your life. Like,
Yeah. And it's annoying too because she's like, wait. Like, I'm sorry. Like, is she here? Like, or everything. But it's like, okay, I physically see that you're fine and that you're okay. She's taking stock of the people she cannot see. It'd be okay and common for her to be like, okay, where's Tanith? Oh, okay, where's Ash? Like, ask these things in session. And then she just gets butthurt. She's like, you don't even care about me. Kind of bullshit. And it's like, fuck you.
okay,
She, like,
especially with the revelation Amaris is going to come out within the next fucking chapter. Fuck you, Amaris. Fuck you all the way to Sunday, okay?
yeah, it's really just frustrating because it's like, she's empathetic. She, like, helped an animal in pain, and that animal, like, respects her. And now Amaris is like, ugh, fuck you. No.
Yeah, I don't know if we're supposed to like Amaris or not, but I don't. And the fact that she doesn't respect someone else's pet makes me dislike her even more. Because
Yeah.
fuck you, Amaris.
Like, she's the queen. Fuck you. It don't matter.
Right. But so then they like continue into the conversation, and she's like, you gave your life for Tanith, meaning Tanith, Amaris. And she's like, no, I didn't. I killed two birds with one stone. I knew I could save Tanith, and I knew from experience that it would render me unconscious. I knew I could visit Daifa in her sleep. And so she tells Mars about that basically, and she's trying to explain to her that she doesn't think that Daifa is real. Which I don't know why, and this is nothing related to the story at all, but I really like the name Daifa.
Yeah. I honestly, when that name popped up, I was like, oh, okay, how do I pronounce it? And I was like, oh, I don't know.
I guess I just assumed because of the name Afa from, nope. This is what my brain's been doing all day. This is why I left work.
Whatever. Shadow and Bones?
No.
Irish culture? I thought it was like Daifa or like Daifa, something like that. Like, you know how...
The Irish name that means beauty and is associated with a warrior queen in Irish mythology. Yes, Aoife. Irish. You are correct. Aoife. And so I just assumed that Daifa was a play on that name. I could be pronouncing it wrong, but it wasn't in the pronunciation guide, so...
Not on us. And even then, we still struggled with the pronunciation guide. We're like, is it Moray?
Yeah. Well, because that name was just weird.
I honestly took it like, you know, how they use the word, what is it? The word, like for throne, like the dice.
Oh, yeah.
See, I still can't fucking say it.
Dais.
Like, Daifa.
I like mine better.
Yeah, I do too. But, and so it's really weird because it's like she's like a figment of everyone's imagination. That's kind of like what it's like describing as. Like, she's there, but not there. Honestly, she kind of reminds me of like Luna. Oh, wait, no. That's the priestess. My bad.
What? Oh, okay.
I looked at my next note and I was like, oh, Luna. Oh, wait, that's the wrong person.
And then so at the end of that little part right before the page break on page 426, Nox is like, what do you know of manifestors? And that's it. And I was like, manifestors? The fuck? We learn a lot about this. We learned so much lore in this last little bit of this book.
That's how it always is.
It is. And like I was telling Emily, like, it's because there is a spinoff series coming out. I don't know if it's come out yet.
You weren't telling me. I didn't know that.
I thought I told you that there was a spinoff series about the All-Mother.
Oh. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And so we will learn a little more about manifestors, I think, and that. I mean, we learn more about them in this book, but I think that.
Not like where they come from, where their power's
Right.
from, just kind of like what their power is.
And I think that that's why they are introduced to us at the end of this series, because their introduction was necessary for the next series. I think.
Yeah.
I could be totally pulling that out of my ass, but
What
makes sense to me.
What if we buy the spinoff series and it's about the All Mother and it's literally just the Bible?
Ew, Piper CJ would never.
That'd be so funny. That would be like such a funny prank to everyone.
You know what she freaking does to us in this book? You remember how I said I was going to set all my books on fire?
Yeah.
I came close. Okay. But anyway, they start talking.
They leave so that they could go beat the priestess.
Yeah.
And go see how Tanith's doing.
Yeah, and they talk to the priestess about the speaker, and she's like, that's not the real speaker. And it's like, she makes it sound so obvious.
Once she explains it though, then it's like, oh
yeah,
you're right though, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
but also like parallels to the Antichrist. Okay, in the current situation right now, I'm just like,
it's honestly so crazy because like as I was reading this, I was like, damn, she kind of sounds like Luna Lovegood, like the aloof, the like, oh yeah, okay, kind of thing.
mm-hmm.
And then as like we're talking to her and we're still continuing, I'm sitting here like, damn, she's spitting straight facts.
Mm-hmm.
Because she goes on to say things like,
are her acts kind? Is she empathetic? Does she desire peace, balance, and help? All of these things. Like a whole paragraph of that.
And then she's like, I know the memories she plants and the minds she melded. And yet no matter what seeds she sows or visuals she creates. And then that's when she starts asking, like, are they kind? Are they empathetic? Are they peaceful? Are they balancing? Or do they help? Like,
and this is like breaking Tanith's heart. Tanith's hand goes to her chest and she's like about to like poke her nails into her chest because she's freaking out. But then the priestess absolves her.
Oh, yeah. And I really like this last part too. It's like, does it matter what she calls herself if she's using her title to grab for power? So, like, keep that in mind for later on in the book.
Yeah. She says to Tanith, while she's like holding her like a child, she says, your heart is open, loyal, and good. Your faith is part of what makes you beautiful. Do not mourn your past. Leave it where it belongs. The guilt and the shame belong to the deceiver, dear heart, not the deceived. And I didn't highlight this because I had this thought when I read it, but I didn't write it down for some reason. I feel the same way when people are like, oh, don't give money to homeless people. They're just drug addicts. You're just propping them up. Or they're panhandlers and they're liars and they're not really in need. And what I have to say to that is that says more about their character than it does mine.
Mm-hmm.
I was still acting in good faith and giving someone assistance when I could. And if they were taking advantage of me, that says more about their character and it's going to bring them karma, a different kind of karma that I'm going to get from that interaction.
Yeah, and honestly, one time when I was doing a ride along in my internship with a cop, and we saw somebody on the side of the road with a dog, and she drove by it, and then she just felt so bad. She turned back around and stopped at a gas station, and I was like, why don't you just stop and give him cash? And she goes, it's one of those things where I'd rather give them something that they could use right then and there than something that I don't know where it's going to. And then, I mean, I get it because she's a cop, so like there's a possibility like she could deal with him in the future.
Yeah.
And then I like kind of sat there and I took it as, well, I don't ever have any cash, but I would feel bad if I don't help somebody like that in need or whatever. And I was like, okay, so if I have cash, then I can offer cash. And if I don't have any cash, then I can use my card to get water or get something like instead
Yeah.
of the cash. And I always feel bad because like there's always like a homeless person down here, and it's not like they're mean or anything. I'm just an awkward person.
Yeah. Same. I get it.
So like when they're talking to me, I'm like, ugh.
I promise if you were dressed in a 3-piece business suit, I'd be looking at you the same way.
I know. And everyone is always just like, why are you so awkward? And I was like,
I was born this way.
I'm like this with everybody. What do you mean? Like, it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how well you dress or what kind of money you have. Like, it don't matter. Like, I will not look you in the eye, and I will try my hardest to get the fuck out of there. It don't matter. But anyways, I also kind of like that Tanith is getting like a little, not redemption, but like a little healing part for her faith.
Yeah. And at the end of this chapter, which we're basically at the end of this chapter now, I still thought either Nox or Amaris was the speaker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, they're not. But at that point, I still thought we were going to find out one of them was the true speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So then the beginning of chapter 37.
Oh, this pissed me off too.
Mm-hmm. We are still with Nox and Amaris and Ash. They go out to talk to Ash, and they're like, the speaker is alive! And he's like, what the fuck is happening? And then on page 437,
her dumbass Amaris.
Yeah, they're
walking down the hill towards the church.
Yeah, and they're upset. Nox is upset specifically. She's like, we left Yaslan alone. Ryu and Kassar rallied to fight with us, and we abandoned them. Gadriel, and Mars goes, Gadriel will be fine. And Nox was like, Amaris, he couldn't have survived. The Comte shattered my army from 50 paces away. When he turned to Gadriel, Amaris goes, I thought he died too. I mourned, and then I remembered something. I've also broken Gadriel's neck. He's a sick fuck. He gets off on this game. As long as they didn't swiftly behead the fallen, we have a man on the inside. If I know him, he will already be on his way to freeing the others, if he hasn't already. When the fuck did you remember that? Because you could have shared, bitch. You didn't have to let me sit here continuing to think that the one member of my family that was left was dead and that I watched him die. And like, bitch, you want to call somebody a sick fuck, Amaris? You're a sick fuck.
She's over here like, not Gadriel, my love.
Annoying.
That's all I had to say about this chapter. That entire thing just pissed me off.
The only other thing I said.
Also, it's a little weird that they're making out on the side of the mountain while they're like walking down. Like, bro.
Yeah, this whole thing is weird. I said something about. This sounds significant. Talking about, because they're talking about Amaris's name. Because Ash calls her Ayla.
Isla.
Oh, whatever. I don't know. And she's like, Nox means night. And Amaris goes, Odrin once told me that Amaris means gift of the goddess. And Odrin said it meant child of the moon. And I was like, this feels significant. But I wasn't sure why. Yeah, it really wasn't. but it felt like it. It kind of, realizing afterwards that it was not significant made it feel kind of like unnecessary.
Yeah.
But then
Maybe it's
that's the
just to
end.
kind of like tie in the theology based on like, this is what it means in Soulgrave. This is what
Yeah.
it means at Reeve. This is what our church says.
Yeah.
Maybe like a way to connect everybody.
Maybe.
I don't know. But
I don't know.
38.
And then chapter 38. We're with Gadriel now. And Yaslin.
Yo, Yaslin had an epiphany moment this time around, and I am so proud of her. So they're basically sneaking out of wherever Yaslin was kept, and they haven't seen any like anybody go through recently, so they don't know like where they're at. So they're just basically hiding in the pews until they figure it out. And they kind of look up and they see the glass. So they're essentially like, oh, this is a great opportunity, let's go. And when they try to go, reds come out, everyone's like fighting all over again kind of thing. And the leader of the reds come out and he's telling everybody what to do, where to go, and he goes up with the comps upstairs or wherever. And as they're fighting, they're obviously trying to, survive fighting against magic when their magic is limited. And Amaris does the
Yaslin.
coolest. That's what I meant. Yaslin does the coolest fucking thing ever. She basically takes the water in one of the reds like body or blood and freezes it and completely like
murders him.
Yeah.
It's great.
By stone. And it's I was like, hey, now that's believing in yourself, because she makes a comment. He's like, you, like, he couldn't understand what she had done because she had just frozen the man's very blood where he stood. And she goes, I thought it couldn't hurt to try. And I'm like, yes.
Yes, Yaslin.
And
we also find out during this fight that Gadriel's parents are on the way to the church with the true speaker. I said about Yaslin doing that, I said, well, that's a neat trick.
I know. I was like, I wonder if she could like bloodbend like an avatar.
That
would be so dope, though.
It would.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't write anything else till page 450.
Well, by all means, go ahead.
I said, what's up with that, Gad? Because Gadriel is like really like creeped out by the fact that Nox was able to go into Daeva's mind.
Well, they're talking about possibility of like murdering her in her sleep.
Oh yeah. Because then on the next page they say that.
If this has happened before, not necessarily with like, attempts, but what the fuck? This was never thought of before? Like the possibility, like as a general, I mean, okay, I get it. He's more like military based strategy. So like I understand that maybe this whole concept was out of his wheelhouse, but still, you would think he'd like look at something.
Right.
But who am I to, you good?
Yeah.
That's why. Got it.
Yeah, I was trying to find the mute button. I forgot. Because this
You were
is
like,
different. Yeah. Okay.
that's so funny.
Chapter 39.
Okay. This also really pissed me off.
Yeah. Listen, Amaris needs to back the fuck up off of Fiala. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because
I was like, shame on them for not trying to break this shit. And shame on them for not thinking about Gwydir or Fairhold or even Malik.
Yeah, and she's just being a bitch. Like, ugh. What?
I'm
I
also
said,
surprised that they didn't bring Fiola or like attempt to do anything with her. They just like left her.
yeah. Well, and I was just like, now I can't find what I was talking about. I said that Amaris is going to need to stop talking shit about Fiala, or Nox is going to get rid of Amaris. But I said that. Oh, there it is. Because at the top, Amaris is in her head. She's like, quite certain. No, sorry. Let me start that thought over. In Amaris' head, she's looking at Nox and she's seeing that Nox is fucking pissed, and she's like, there's anger in her eyes, and she's quite certain that Nox was missing, or Amaris wished she could say it had something to do with her, but she was quite certain that Nox was missing her attachment to her stupid axe, or worse, her goddess awful pet. Bitch, I am gonna hit you over the head with this book if you don't stop talking shit about her dog. I just can't. Like, you have treated her like garbage and do not deserve her at all.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get over her goddamn dog.
It's also really frustrating because it's like it's not similar, like I don't have a giant ass fucking dog, but it's frustrating when people don't understand why you do the things that you do with your dogs. It's really frustrating. Like, I had a complaint from a resident about like the dog upstairs. Like, I hear them at all hours of the night. I don't think he does. I think he hears footsteps, and that's not something I can do. Like,
right, what do you...
I'm telling you right now, if they got rid of that dog, he would still hear things. Because he went from a unit where nobody was living above him to a unit that is on the first floor. So there's a difference. And they have like a golden doodle puppy. That puppy is gonna be wild for a bit. It's fine. And the guy's like, I couldn't even enjoy the Super Bowl.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Okay, bro. And then
also judging you.
And then he like looked at me and he was like, sorry if you're a millennial, but she said a very millennial thing, and I'm sitting here like, did you say millennial thing? Because I feel like whatever's gonna pop out of your mouth is gonna be a Gen Z thing, because a millennial is done and over with.
Right.
Like, we are old as shit.
Right. Like,
we are broke as shit, so we're probably not even home. We probably don't got any of that shit. Like, no, fuck you. And he was like, well, she just said, well, I paid for the dog. I did this and I did that. So, like, what more do you want me to do? And I'm sitting there like, okay, that was not a millennial thing. Not even an hour later, I got an email from those two women. They're lesbians, by the way. They're the cutest things ever. I thought they were roommates. They were roommates.
It's making more sense now.
And she was like, "Hi, my name is this, and my fiance is blah 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 blah." Like in October, we got a. And when I tell you, she sent me 7 paragraphs, and they were like not like 2 sentences, and then like skipped a line. They were like 5 sentences each. Like I kept scrolling on my phone to read this fucking email. They literally have it in 2 different types of training. They bought more carpet in an attempt to appease the guy. They specifically like make sure like they're training him to not bark into wine when he has to go outside. It's in a crate. They're crate training, and they are trying not to like, look at the dog when all of these things or whatever happening, and then they're trying to do this, and then they're trying to do that. Like they're trying. And I'm sitting here like, I don't feel bad for you, bro. Welcome to apartment living.
Right, like,
And
hello.
I was like, not that I was like steamed about like how everyone's been treating this fucking like Fiola, but whenever he was bitching about it, and I was like, seriously, it's a fucking dog.
Right, shut up.
Do you not have an animal? Because I can tell. And it's not like the dog barks a lot. Like the dog literally barks when it has to go to the bathroom, and the only time, and he's only ever like brought me specific timestamps, and it's all around the same time. So yeah, the dog barks throughout the day because it's crate training.
Right, and it needs to go potty. Like,
Yeah, and they even have like she sent me pictures of like cameras set up in the room where the dog is like sleeping, and they get a notification when there's a sound that's made, so they immediately look at their phone, and if she's barking, they leave. And like they sent me like videos of when it happened. They sent me all of these things that they've done, and I'm sitting here like, I told you to go up to their door, knock on it gently, and then speak to them, not
right.
and be a pissed off old man. It's like, bro, you want to be called doctor, but you got like a fucking massive ass ponytail in the back, but it's all gray, so I know you're older. Like you're being a fucking ass, bro. But that like really pissed me off today. I was like, it's just a fucking dog. Just a dog. Just want some love.
Get over yourself.
Yeah, Morris.
Yeah. But then, a couple pages later, Amaris is pissed at Knox with good reason. Because Yaslin is like, where the fuck is your green ribbon? Why are you not wearing your fucking green ribbon? And then she explains to or then she shows Amaris that it's not a ward, it's armor, by attempting to stab Knox while she has the ribbon in her hair.
This is the greatest exchange I've ever witnessed between Yaslin and anyone.
Yeah, and then Amaris like loses her fucking mind. She's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you ever take this off? Do you have a death wish? And then yes. Yaslin's like, because Knox immediately goes back to try to stab Yaslin. And Yaslin's like, were you seriously gonna stab me? And Knox goes, don't you think I'm being beaten up enough? Amaris, no, I don't think you have. Would you have been safe in your fight in Gwydir? Would you have been protected against the Arboreal if she hadn't turned out to be a giant dub dog? Would your arm have been spared in the cathedral? My arm is fine now. That's not the point. I'm telling Malik. Not calling in the other lover. Not totally savage move.
And then she's like, no, don't tell him. He'll be so disappointed.
Like, no, she didn't call in the other lover. Okay. One of the first times I've had respect for Amaris in this entire fucking series.
My favorite is when Yaslin's like screaming at her and is like, listen here, Queen of Rascot. You had no way of knowing if they'd come at you with power or steel. If I see you take that fucking piece of fabric off one more time, I will hold you down and tie it around your throat until it's as fastened to your skin as my goddess damned collar. If you don't, then I'll take your head off myself and make sure Gadriel ascends. And I was like,
yes.
Sergeant? Okay.
Yes.
Yo, if
And
Gadriel
then-
did ever ascend, do you think Yaslin would be the
General, for sure.
Well, do you think she would be the general? Do you think Sakai would be the general?
No, I think Sakai would be the general. I think Yaslin's too hot-headed.
Yeah. But also,
maybe they would be co-generals. Yeah. Is that a thing?
I was gonna say, can he be like general of like all things spy network, and then like she be general of like being a bitch, and then Gadriel can be the king general.
Anyway,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say the last thing I said on page 461 was, why do I feel like someone is about to die? It's the last thing I wrote on page 461, which is the last page of chapter 39.
Yeah, it's really sad because like Amaris and Ash are having like a conversation. And he goes, "What did the people in Stone call us? The League of Guardians? I'm an angel." And it's like, no one should be calling themselves fucking angel when they're about to go into a battle of sorts, because no one knows who's gonna fucking die. Like, you're an angel? No, you're not. You're Ash. You're gonna be Ash until after the battle. Then you can call yourself an angel. I don't give a fuck. And then she's like, so gallant together, and then like,
yep,
holding hand kind of thing. And then he's like, you fought by my side for years, Isla. You know there's nothing we can't do. And I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. Then chapter 40. Immediately, shit was too easy. They're going to fight their way back into the church, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, not yet.
Not yet.
They found out that the Reds have figured out where the two Rascot bastards are.
Correct.
So they're going to go intercept them.
The Reds.
So they're following them, and then they get to a certain part. Gadriel and Tanith break off, and they're going to go ahead because he can have the element of surprise, and he also can't die that easily, you know, as everyone knows for the third time. Yeah, and Tanith doesn't need anybody. So then the two who can fight, the Reavers are going to take the flanks, and then Nox is always going to stay back with Yaslin, and Yaslin's going to attempt to freeze them. So that's kind of where we're at.
Which she does. She does. So it was so quick, so complete. Bodies littered the ground. Like, there was only one Red left. And she asks Tanith to wait, because Tanith, she has a shield up, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking Tanith to wait, because Tanith is about to fuck her up.
And then Tanith has a change of heart.
And in my head, I pronounce this name Nyana, which I also think is a very pretty name. Could be Niana. Either way, still pretty.
I said Nyana.
I said Nyana as well, and I think that's a really pretty name too. All the bad bitches have really pretty names in this book.
And then you
and
got
by bad bitches, I mean like
we got the white ass names. Did you say by the bad bitches? Did you say the black bitches?
The bad bitches.
Oh, I was like the black bitches, and I was like, listen, we know.
I mean like the villains.
Oh, okay. I thought you said the black bitches, and I was
Bad bitches. No.
like,
No.
okay, but Soul Grey people aren't dark skinned like Yaslin and
No, no, no.
Nox.
That's not what I said.
Sorry.
You're good. It probably sounds that way because my voice is all fucked right now. But then Tanith is like arguing with this girl because she's like, why wouldn't you have tried to talk to us? We were your brothers and sisters, we're your family. Like, why did you just come in and slaughter us? And Tanith is like, you know as well as I that none of you would have listened. I would have been dismissed as a heretic, and you would have killed me as quickly as I've killed you. And she's like, you don't know that. She's like, I do know that. And then on page 467, well, 466, Tanith tells Nyana about the speaker being a false speaker and there being a real speaker. And she's telling Nyana to drop her shield because she's going to die if she doesn't, because that's not her like primary power or whatever. I forget what the actual term is. And then
She's sourcing from the groundwater.
Yeah, and she's like, nope, I'm not going to do that. She finally...
it's blood magic. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's blood magic. She does finally break her shield. And it says the flash in her eyes as she shattered the shield should have been the warning they needed to react. But the surge of anger Nyana displayed was too quick, too all-encompassing for a response. With every drop of remaining strength, she threw out her hands to summon the swords of the fallen and fling the sharp weapons, spiraling with incredible speed toward Tanith. And then to skip a couple lines, it was over before Amaris knew what had happened. In the heartbeat, it had taken the others to register the shower of blades as they rained down upon the short-haired heretic. Ash had thrown himself into Tanith to cover her with his own body. He grunted as he slammed his chest against her, his arms wrapping around her protectively. He barely had time to make contact before the sharpened metallic weapons were impaling themselves through his back, his legs, his arm, and his neck. Gadriel kills the last red standing, but it's too late. And Ash is dead. And Tanith loses her fucking mind. Like, fucking loses it.
Yeah. Screams.
And I said, oh, fuck. And this is all in caps in my journal, by the way. Oh, fuck. That's not who I expected to die. Makes sense, though. Rage, Tanith. Fucking rage.
I just said, I have no comment, just tears. I was crying so much, and I was, like, sniffling.
I kept waiting to get the text from you that you were fucking sobbing.
I know. I fucked up with my reading. I thought I had it done, and I ended up falling asleep. But let me tell you, I was crying so fucking hard, and Will turns around because he hears me sniffing, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And it's really, really sad because it's like she's trying really hard to save him. She thinks she can save him. And honestly, she can do a lot of different things. If anyone could survive this, like Tanith could make it happen. Now I understand, like, it depends on where the sword went. Like, I honestly thought at this point, before I started skipping like paragraphs to see what was happening because I got too excited, I I was like, okay, Tanith is going to essentially like do what Nox does, like give her his life through whatever means necessary to save him. And then she'll die and it'll be like, all right, time to fuck with everybody that fucked with us. And then they like march off. And I thought it was going to be like some grand battle kind of thing.
Nope.
She just loses her mind. She's trying really hard to save everything. Gadriel is trying to be like the the general, like, he's seen this happen before, he knows how to handle this, so he offered to, dig a grave. So after he was done digging, after 30 minutes or so, he was done digging, and he came up to Tana to, like, go to do it, and Tana's like, "He can't be here, like, no one's gonna visit him. We can't we can't
We
leave
can't
him
leave him
here."
here.
And, like, she was really sad, and then, like, Gadriel was like, "I don't know what else to do." And, in, like, that in the heat of the moment, she literally called upon lightning and zapped Ash to ash and created a little coin with the sun's rays on one side, and she repeated what he had said to her when his father had come to take her away. And it was like so heart-wrenching, and it was terrible. So he didn't get, that type of burial that a warrior would get. He got the Ash special.
Yeah.
And
But she turns the ash into a rough golden coin that she can bring with her.
metallurgy or alchemy is what they called it, yeah. But she gets to carry him around whenever.
Not quite the same, but
you can tell the alcohol is getting to me when, like, my face is, like,
starting to get red. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing I wrote, because we all know that I've been, in fact, Brittany was just listening to the tarot episode last night where I cried about my cat again. We all know that my grief has been really kind of ruling my life lately. So as I was reading this, I was like, and then I wrote, grief is like water torture. It wears away at you slowly, and sometimes you feel like you're going to drown, but others it's just a little drip, drip, drip. Because I was waxing poetic, apparently. And that's the end of chapter 40.
It's really...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say it's really weird when one of your best friends texts you and goes, after your mom died, did you ever feel differently? Did you ever look at the world differently after that? And I was like, oh, this is a heavy subject. Are you okay? Her sister just passed, so, like...
Okay, I was like, to be clear, this wasn't me, right? I don't remember asking you that.
Oh, no. I would have said Brandy texted me, but no. So Casey texted me and was asking me all kinds of questions. Like, do you ever just, like, have, like, a certain thing in life that you've carried on throughout your entire life, and then all of a sudden you're like, wow, that's changed, and you don't understand why? And it's, like, normally, like, death causes that, and I was like, I think your side of, like, mourning probably is taking a little healthier side than I did. I was like, just because, like, you guys weren't close, like, your sister and you weren't close, but, like, you're probably going through, like, the stages of grief as an older sister rather than, like, the stages of grief as a child. And I was like, we can compare all we want, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's going to be different stages.
Well, and everyone's different anyway. Like, your different personality types, your different love languages, your different zodiac signs, like, all of that is going to affect your different trauma. Like, everything's going to affect how you grieve differently.
Yeah, because I'm sitting here, like, being really hot and heavy. I was like, my dark humor is now blacker than my soul. I was like, it's not that it's hard to find, like, happiness in a lot of things. It's just like, I don't know. It's just like, it's something weird. It's like a piece of you leaves and then you just don't feel whole again. And she's like, yeah, this could just be my period talking, but, like, I've always never wanted kids. And now I'm starting to think about, like, maybe I should, either plan to have a kid or, like, freeze my eggs. And I was like,
maybe freeze your eggs, but don't have a kid while you're in grief. That's a terrible idea.
I was like, oh, that's different. That's a different side of grief that I've never been on.
Yeah, that's a different...
That's an older sister thing. It's like a protector. Yeah. Like, I want to protect.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, I went like this.
Yeah. You were also younger, though.
Oh, yeah. It's been 2019, so 6 years?
Mhm.
So yeah. But no. Yes. Yes, 6 years. Yeah. So, so yeah, I was like, "Okay, well, you tell me when you've hit rock bottom." That's
Right.
the grief we're on.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh.
And I felt really bad for Tanith because it's like I didn't lose like a lover or anything like that, but I like you lose somebody special to you, so like
Mhm.
you go through those types of griefs, and I'm sitting there like, I understand,
Right. And
but
she's fallen apart.
mhm.
And so is like they all are really. Nox is too. She's not um doing so hot.
Yeah,
Um
Nox is really nervous because now she's trying to like
go into Daifa's dream
sleep.
to kill
First of all,
her.
she's trying to sleep so that she can go into a dream to kill Daifa.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, one of your good friends literally just died. Was like,
Yeah.
how important of a character was this person? I was like, he was a quick one.
Yeah.
He's
And
like,
he was
oh, that's.
not the one I expected to die.
I
I
thought
was not ready.
I thought Tanith was gonna go. To be honest,
I did too.
and
I
then
don't know.
I thought Yaz was gonna yeet out of the picture somehow. It was either Tanith or Yaz, one of the two.
No, they had to give Yaz a happy ending after Tea and Honey.
Damn, you couldn't have given Tanith a fucking happy ending.
I mean, I needed Tana to have a happy ending too, but like I wasn't ready for it to be Ash.
I guess in the long run, she did have a happy ending. I mean, she did have like a family that like she chose,
Yeah.
and she felt good about it. But
Um so basically their plan right now, Amaris or not Amaris. Tanith is gonna put Nox to sleep. Nox is gonna attempt to kill um
Daifa.
Daifa in her dreams, while Gadriel and Yaslin go to try to Territory 3 to get Amaris's bag, which has the green strike blood in it. And Amaris is going to guard Yaslin, or Amaris is going to guard Tanith and Nox while they both sleep. And the last thing, Tana spread her fingers wide and said one word, sleep. And she did. And that is the end of part 3 of the book. Part 4 of the book. Part 5 is called Manifestation, and it will be our final episode of Dawn and Its Light.
The manifestors have come.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time.
Bye.